Okay, the directions say for worksheet 2 on worksheet 2, find the vertex of the graph by completing the square, putting it in this form, and then finding the x-intercepts. So, very first thing we're going to do is we're going to let 0 be y. Then we're going to bring the constant term over to the other side. So that's minus 6 is equal to 3x squared plus 6x. Then our leading coefficient, which is 3, has to be pulled out by dividing. 3 divided by 3 is going to be a 1x squared. 6 divided by 3 is going to be a 2x. Then we're going to come over here and do our sidebar. And that's going to be our b value divided by 2. b, in this case, is going to be 2. So 2 divided by 2 is going to be 1. I'm going to square that to give me a 1. 1 is what I'm adding to both sides. So that's x squared plus 2x plus a 1 inside the parentheses. But what I'm actually adding is 3 times that 1. Where did that 3 come from? Right here. Okay? So this is going to be 3 minus 6 is equal to 3 times. These 3 terms are going to have this sign with this number. So that's going to be an x plus a 1 squared. This is negative 3 is equal to 3 times x plus 1 squared. So this is going to be 0 is equal to 3 parenthesis x plus 1 squared plus 3. So y is equal to 3 parenthesis x plus 1 squared plus 3. This is part A. That is finding the standard form. Now what is happening to this function? It is a stretch of 3 going to the right 1 and it's going up 3. Which means my vertex is going to be right, which is positive 1, up, which is positive 3. So what does that thing look like? I have a 1, 1, 2, 3 right here. It is opening up. So my question is to you, does this thing ever cross the x-axis that I have right there? If you said no, you are 100% right. There are no x-intercepts because it never crosses the x-axis. So that is how you do problem number 2. Problem 4, continuing right along. Problem 4 says we're going to first let 0 be y. Then bring the constant term over. Then we are going to go ahead and pull out our leading coefficient, which is the negative 3/4. And we're going to do that by division. Negative 3/4 x squared divided by negative 3/4 is going to be a 1x squared. Okay? And then we're going to take 3 and divide it by negative 3/4. So if I come over here to my calculator, and I'm going to take 3 divided by parenthesis negative 3 divided by 4 and hit enter, and that gives me negative 4. So come over here and type in there negative 4x. Then I'm going to come over here and do sidebar. Now, what I do want your brain to mentally do is to distribute into here and make sure that you get the original problem there. If whenever you mentally distribute, if you don't get the above, then you have messed up and you need to make sure that you do the calculation again. So we're going to do sidebar. We are going to do b divided by 2 squared. So b is going to be negative 4 divided by 2 is going to be negative 2 squared is going to be 4. So this is going to be negative 3/4 parenthesis x squared minus 4x plus 4. No squared there. So what I'm actually adding to both sides is negative 3/4 times 4. Because this number is attached to this number, my multiplication. Okay? So next, you are going to have those 4's cancel out, giving you negative 3 minus 4 is equal to negative 3/4 parenthesis x minus, you want this number right here, which is a 2 squared. So this gives you negative 7 is equal to negative 3/4 times x minus 2 squared. Bring the negative 7 over to make that a 0. So then y is equal to negative 3/4 times x minus 2 squared plus 7. So what is happening to this thing? Well, that means this thing is going to be reflected. It is going to go a compress of 3/4, so it's going to be a fat cereal bowl. Minus 2 means it's going to the right 2 units, and then it's going to go up 7. So this graph is going to be right 2 and up 7, but it's going to be reflected. Does it cross my x-axis? Yes, it does cross my x-axis, so now I have to find my x-intercepts. So how do I go about that? Well, the way I go about that is by taking what we just had, which was negative 7 is equal to negative 3/4 x minus 2 quantity squared. Does everybody see where that came from? That came from this right here. Okay? And we're going to simply solve that. So how do I do that? I am going to multiply both sides by 4 over negative 3. So a double negative creates a positive. 28 over 3 is equal to, those all cancel out, and you're left with x minus 2 squared. Okay? So then we're going to go ahead and take the square root of both the left and the right and the top and the bottom. So that's plus or minus. Perfect square factors of 28 are 4 times 7. And that's going to be equal to x minus 2. This comes out as a 2, so I'm left with plus or minus 2 square roots of 7 over the square root of 3. But remember, we have to rationalize that. So I'm going to multiply this by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. So that's going to be plus or minus 2 square roots of 21 over 3 because the square roots cancel out. And then we're going to go ahead and add 2 to both sides. So 2 plus or minus 2 square roots of 21 over 3 is equal to x. So those are going to be your x-intercepts. So what would you write on your line? 2 plus 2 square roots of 21 over 3, comma 0. And 2 minus 2 square roots of 21 over 3, comma 0. That's number 4. Okay, so that leaves you 2 to do on the front. Now let's go ahead and look at the back here. Number 6. Let's go ahead and do number 6. We're going to go ahead and do the same procedure. This is 0. Bring over the 47. Leading coefficient is already 1, so now I'm going to do sidebar. So that's b divided by 2, so that's 14 divided by 2, which is 7. Squared is 49. So that's going to give me an x squared minus a 14x plus 49 on the right-hand side, which means I'm going to add 49 to the left-hand side. 49 minus 47 is 2. These 3 terms are going to turn into an x minus, keep this term, and then make the 7 squared. Bring the 2 over. So y is equal to x minus 7 squared plus 2. That is your vertex form. So what is my vertex? That means my vertex is going to be positive 7, positive 2. So that means I'm going to be at positive 7, positive 2. And I am going to go which direction there? Oh, I screwed up, sorry. This is a negative, this is positive 2, so I'm going to make this a negative 2. Sorry about that. So that means I'm going to go down, and now I'm crossing my x-axis, so now I need to find them. So how do I find them? I'm going to take this down here. So that's 2 is equal to x minus 7 squared. And I'm going to take the square root. So that's plus or minus the square root of 2 is equal to x minus 7. Bring the 7 over. So you are going to have the x-intercepts being 7 plus the square root of 2 comma 0 and 7 minus the square root of 2 comma 0. And that is problem 6. Last one I'm going to do for you out of your homework is going to be number 9. Step 1, this is 0. Step 2, bring the 21 over. Step 3 is going to be sidebar. Why is it sidebar? Because my coefficient is already a 1, so I know I'm done. So this is going to be b divided by 2. Squared, my b is 8, divided by 2 is 4. Squared is going to be 16. So this is going to be x squared plus 8x plus 16, which means I have a negative 21 over here plus a 16. This gives me a negative 5 is equal to an x plus a 4 squared. Mentally, go ahead in your head and say 8 divided by 2. That gives you the 4 right there. Okay? Bring this minus 5 over, and you're going to have 0 is equal to x plus 4 squared plus 5. So y is equal to x plus 4 squared plus 5. This thing is going to the left 4 units and up 5. Left 4, up 5, opening up. Will it ever cross the x-axis? The answer is no. So I have no x-intercepts. And that is how you do that worksheet.